It's not the job, it's you. Other people have the same job, maybe not if you work in a small environment. Other people that work at your same establishment, that work your same job, maybe in a different place, doesn't matter, same toxic people, quote unquote, same toxic environment, love their job. What's the difference? The only literal difference is you. Your filter, your physiology in that moment influences how you're perceiving that job. Because at times, have you enjoyed that job? Absolutely. At times, when you maybe first started, when it was new, you probably actually kind of liked that job. And then something happened, things change, and all of a sudden, just spontaneously, now the job is shit. It's not now that the job is shit, because those things were always there. You say, oh, well, the boss, well, like, no, I just see the side of them now. It's like, well, that was always there. Right? You may have just ignored it in the beginning because you had a little bit more energy and you were in a bit of a different state. But then some experience jhappened and you saw a different side of them. Well, that side was always there, wasn't it? And in all reality, it's even if that is, what somebody is expressing, these toxic traits, and they're treating you in a certain way, it's still your responsibility to choose how you show up in that environment. To just choose how you experience that environment is 100% in your control. But it's also influenced by the state that you're in. So if you're in a shitty state, like, circumstantially things happen, and that's fine. But acknowledging the fact that at the end of the day, maybe it will take something triggering you to get you out of that state of feeling like a victim or feeling like you have to blame the environment. But eventually something will happen, or you can choose to learn different things and then start enacting a different philosophy and a different way of looking at things. But something will shift where all of a sudden the job isn't actually shit. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have goals and things that you want to progress towards, but it also doesn't mean that you can't show up in that state that you already want, that you want to be in the future now. Enacting who you want to be now. And by doing that, you're probably more likely to attract the type of, perfect job or environment. Because if you go to a different job and it's the perfect job, but you're still in that old, mindset of blaming other people, you're going to find the faults even if that job is perfect. You'll say, well, yeah, like the environment is really good, but I have to commute to work and that's just fucking terrible. Like you'll find something to bitch about. So, I don't know, just, take a look in the mirror with empathy and without judgment. It's not like you need to be critical about this factor. You need to blame yourself or beat yourself up for this or anything. Yeah, it's not like it needs to come from a negative place, but it just comes from a place of ownership that you do have control in the situation. And if you feel like you don't have control in the situation right now, that's what your physiology is eliciting. That's fine. And you don't have to do anything about it. It doesn't need to be changed. But if this happens again, if you do get out of this state or this situation, and then this creeps up again, then you can question some things. Like, okay, maybe I'm not being totally honest with myself here. Maybe there's something more to this than another toxic job, another shitty work environment, another shitty relationship. What makes a relationship work? Generally speaking, I think I'm saying this with not a lot of experience in successful relationships, but if two people are committed to each other, then when conflict arises, when things come into your mind, like, well, I don't know, I thought they were this person, but maybe they're like this person. Well, what are you doing? You're just casting a judgment on them, right? They're in some kind of a state right now as well, and they're enacting a behavior based on that state. And there's so many influences to, that equation. Work, job, just random events. And so it's not like you're perfect and you don't do the same thing, and it's not like your partner probably doesn't think, oh, I don't know, they're acting kind of weird in this way. It's like, that's true, but like, do something about it, right? Hey, I noticed you're acting, a little bit different, or like I'm just kind of picking up a weird vibe. Is everything okay? Is there something that I'm doing that's making you feel a certain way, right? How can I help you in this situation, right? I don't know, every situation is so unique and so different, but also communicating in that way, you need to communicate like that with yourself. How are you doing in this situation? Is there anything I can do to help? Do you just need to go through this? Do you just need to, smoke weed for 6 months and then, eventually something happens and triggers a different change and you go somewhere else and do something else? Well, maybe you needed that for some reason at that time, and that's been me. And then as it's progressed, it's been more and more me starting to realize, I don't know if it's realized, but just like somehow getting a little bit more clarity over the situation. I guess that like, without all of those situations, I wouldn't be where, like, those situations are conditioning my mind in a different way than I'm used to thinking. Instead of going to something, a substance or whatever, to change my state, I'm realizing I'm responsible for choosing a healthy way to change my state. And like I said, if that isn't the case and you slip up or something happens and you just gotta ride that fucking wave, and maybe even do it in a great state. That's what I was kind of getting to, where like I would start smoking weed again and then just like, well, you know what, this is what I need right now, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna ride it out, and when it's, when the time is ready and presents itself to change, I'm gonna change. And I don't know, it's a weird philosophy because it goes against a lot of norms of like, that's not the way you quit. Like, you got to be a lot more disciplined and intentional and whatever. But if you do it the disciplined way, I feel like eventually you're not really building the muscle, you're forcing yourself to do something. So if you force yourself to do something, it'll work momentarily, but in the long term, you're always going to be resisting something. Whereas now for me, I'm not resisting anything. If I want to smoke, I can go smoke, but I just don't choose to do that because I know that I will let myself do that. Like, I smoke pipe tobacco. I don't know. Like, well, here's the thing. I had the urge to smoke cigarettes. I was like, it just doesn't really, that doesn't feel like the right thing to do. And this has been a slow progression of like smoking all the time, not quitting in this and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it was like, honestly, like, what if I want to smoke? I'm gonna smoke tobacco. And so I aligned it with my values. I bought organic tobacco, and like sourced it and like reached out to the company, and like it was like there's no pesticides, and like this process is totally clean, and then ordered it. And when I ordered, I didn't just like put it in and smoke it and like get addicted, and it's like, I don't inhale it, you just puff on it, and here and there, like once or twice a month, sometimes not at all, I'll smoke some pipe tobacco. And the old me would have been like, you're relapsed. You just relapsed, And I've done this with alcohol. I've done this with drugs. I've done this with everything. I've done this with like, yeah, literally everything, like every addiction you can think of. And I don't know. I think you gotta be a little bit kinder to yourself. and realize, I don't know, nobody's perfect. You're gonna fuck up. Other people are gonna fuck up. Give them a little grace. Give yourself a little grace, and life will be a whole lot fucking better. That's been the truth for me, at least. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this video was kind of a little, you know, a little bit more in depth and based on reality and principles that you can actually utilize. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good night.